On this show, we've so far covered video games, or old video games from the 80s to be more precise. And I was planning on reviewing an old Namco game for today's episode, but I instead decided to break away from the norm and do something different. Reviewing a movie. That's right, this will be my very first review of a feature-length motion picture, and what better movie to start off with than one of my favorite movies of all time, Winners and Sinners. Winners and Sinners, also known as Winners and Sinners 5 Lucky Stars, is an action comedy movie directed and written by Sammo Hung and released in Hong Kong in 1983 under distribution from Golden Harvest. The movie also stars Sammo Hung as well as John Sham, Richard Ng, Charlie Chin, and Stanley Fung, with supporting roles played by Cherry Chung, James Tien, and everyone's favorite action star, Jackie Chan. The film was a box office hit, grossing 21.97 million Hong Kong dollars upon its initial release, and it was the start of the Lucky Star series of movies that were subsequently released from 1985 to 1996. However, these movies are canonically separate from Winners and Sinners, and some of these movies don't even star the initial cast, not even Sammo Hung himself. Thankfully, Winners and Sinners is able to stand on its own as a fun-filled romp with amazing action and a great cast of characters. So without further ado, let's review Winners and Sinners. The movie begins with the view of a large house at night. The scene seems calm and crickets are chirping in the distance, when suddenly a burglar is escaping from the house. The energy is immediately ramped up as the burglar slides down a zipline and escapes on a motorbike while high-intensity music plays and the movie's title appears. This burglar is our star character Teapot, played by Sammo Hung. After having made his daring escape, he walks around the neighborhood for another house to rob. He finds a seemingly empty house and sneaks inside, but he accidentally stumbles into a surprise birthday party for Sammo Hung? You mean to tell me that the main character of this movie is being mistaken for the actor playing him, who just so happens to be an actual person in this movie's world? This is just like the scene from Airplane where that little kid recognizes that the pilot played by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I just gotta say, that was freaking hilarious. Obviously, Teapot isn't the man that the party attendees were expecting, so he makes a daring escape via a zipline once again, only to be captured by the police who literally swoop in the nick of time. The movie then cuts to another one of the main characters, Curly, played by John Sham, who's organizing a protest to, and I'm not kidding here, legalize prostitution. After a successful rally, Curly meets up with some men who try to bribe him with cash, but because of his principles, Curly refuses their offer and bids them good day. Not ones to let others get the better of them, the men get back at Curly by convincing everyone at another protest that Curly wants to have prostitution to be legalized forcefully, which causes Curly to be attacked by the other protesters and arrested by the police. Next, we find another one of our main leads, Exhaust Pipe, played by Richard Ng, posing as a car cleaner while trying to steal parts of other people's cars. Unfortunately for him, one of the guys he tries to steal from is a cop. Luckily, he doesn't resist the cop's arrest and willingly accepts his cuffs. We next find another character, Vaseline, played by Charlie Chin, in a jewelry store, doing some robbing by walking up to a random guy, making it look like the guy shot him, and stealing the jewelry in the commotion. Vaseline is successful in his first attempt, but in his second attempt, a group of 3 other jewel thieves show up when he pulls the fake gunshot routine, and they steal the jewelry while Vaseline is escorted to a hospital. Of course, he's found out to be a thief and escorted to the slammer. While he's being escorted by the cops, Vaseline notices another man being escorted named Larry, played by Stanley Fung. However, it's not explained why Larry was arrested. Meanwhile, we find a man being beaten badly in an interrogation room by Officer 7086, played by Jackie Chan, who's assigned to figure out the whereabouts of some counterfeit US money. This poor man is just getting the crap beaten out of him despite his constant alibis. Luckily, 7086's boss steps in to tell him that the man was telling the truth. 7086 tries to make amends by letting the man beat him up, but his boss takes him off the counterfeit case and assigns him with tracking down litterbugs. Anyway, we see our 5 main characters, Teapot, Curly, Exhaust Pipe, Vaseline, and Larry meet each other in a cell, become friends, and form a team called the Lucky Stars, vowing to stick together. Unfortunately, Teapot gets the shit end of the deal because he's the youngest. After some time, the 5 Lucky Stars are finally released, now as reformed men. The moment they get outside, a formation of fancy cars arrive on the scene and roll out the red carpet for the 6th man being released, Chan Chu, played by James Tien. After Chu leaves, the Lucky Stars try hailing for a bus, but to no avail. Luckily for them, though, a passing bus blows out one of his tires, allowing the men to catch a ride. The bus driver is pissed about having to give a ride to released prisoners, and he complains about it. So the Lucky Stars start talking to each other about what they did to get arrested, but the crimes they say they did are actually far worse than the ones they actually committed. This scares the bus driver and makes him stop complaining and be more compliant. He even lets the men off for free when they arrive at their destination, Curly's uncle's house. The boys get settled in, drink some Carlsberg, which actually shows up fairly often in this movie, and sit down for dinner, where they meet Curly's sister Shirley, played by Charity Chung. Vaseline, Exhaust Pipe, and Larry immediately have the hots for Shirley, much to the disappointment of Curly, who is shown throughout the entire film to be extremely protective of his sister. Meanwhile, Chan Chu is having a meeting with his men concerning counterfeiting molds for US $100 bills. One of Chu's men shows him an image of 3 bills and asks him which one is real. When Chu guesses incorrectly, he's told all 3 bills are fake, and Chu has the man slammed for making him look foolish. We then cut to the boys and Shirley walking around at a local fair. Unfortunately for Teapot, he has to wear the sailor uniform of Curly's father, which makes him feel weird and causes the other Lucky Stars to poke fun at him. Also, Curly's protectiveness of Shirley annoys Exhaust Pipe, Vaseline, and Larry, who decide to try and lose Curly by tricking him into hitting a kung fu teacher who ends up chasing Curly out of the fair. With Curly gone, the boys and Shirley continue on. Vaseline and Exhaust Pipe argue about competing for Shirley's affection when they notice Teapot and Shirley having fun with some walkie-talkies. Not ones to be deterred, the boys step in and try to impress Shirley with Exhaust Pipe's knowledge of walkie-talkies. Exhaust Pipe says that the walkie-talkies have an operating distance of 51.4 meters, and to prove this, he walks a long distance with one of the walkie-talkies and tries speaking into it. While trying to communicate with Shirley, Vaseline tells Exhaust Pipe that she wants him to sing a song, so he finds an open area and starts singing into the walkie-talkie. Exhaust Pipe's singing attracts a large crowd who thinks he's a performer, but then a family band shows up and starts playing the 1981 Rod Stewart song, Young Turks. No joke, they actually sing the song with the English lyrics. This scene was even removed from some releases of the movie because of copyright concerns. While the band plays, Exhaust Pipe tries contacting Shirley, but instead he is greeted with the voice of the electronic salesman who demands he returns the walkie-talkie immediately before he calls the cops. We get back to the remaining 3 Lucky Stars and Shirley. Vaseline gives Teapot some money to buy peanuts for himself and Shirley, and Larry agrees to go away if Vaseline gives him $150, which he does. Vaseline then meets up with Teapot, who also agrees to leave if Vaseline gives him $30 and lets him say goodbye to Shirley. Vaseline agrees, and Teapot uses this opportunity to tell Shirley that Vaseline wants both of them to leave, which allows him to leave the fair with Shirley and pull a fast one on Vaseline. While they walk, Shirley asks Teapot why he plotted to court her rather than just asking her out on a date, and Teapot explains to her how girls usually go for good looks, which he feels he doesn't have, and how he feels very nervous and awkward around girls, which is why he has never asked anyone out on a date. It's with this scene that we start to see the beginning of the relationship between Teapot and Shirley, and it also demonstrates Teapot's character. He's kind-hearted, well-mannered, and respectful, but he doesn't have a lot of confidence. After their date, they arrive home, and Teapot explains how his childhood nickname used to be Little Teapot, named after a folk song. He even performs the song for Shirley, but is interrupted by the other Lucky Stars, who step outside covered in large bruises. Curly is very pissed at Teapot, and he runs at him with a 2x4. The movie then has a very entertaining montage sequence where we see that the Lucky Stars and Shirley have started their own cleaning business, the 5 Stars Cleaning Company. The montage shows them working together, enjoying some soft drinks on a staircase, fooling around with each other, and just palling around. I absolutely love this montage because it shows the Lucky Stars having fun with each other and just being good friends. Up until this point, we've seen them bickering, being mean to each other, and trying to one-up each other. But here we finally understand that they really are good friends. They do get on each other's nerves sometimes, but they genuinely enjoy being with each other and helping one another. And this wholesome moment is made even better with a wonderful song about having friends and getting along. After a long day's work, Teapot and Shirley decide to go eat at a burger parlor. They order their food, find a table, and settle down, when Officer 7086 shows up and sits at their table and whispers to them. He then tells Teapot to relax, eat his pork chop rice, and then duck when he gives the signal. Not too far away, a midget with really messed up teeth shows up with a group of young men and points a gun at the cash register lady and demands all the money in the register. She fulfills their demands and they walk away. 7086 gives the signal, but Teapot knocks the gun out of his hands when he ducks, so he launches himself at the crooks and starts beating the crap out of them. Teapot even joins in and helps 7086, and it turns out he's a fantastic fighter. What follows is a short but amazing fight sequence with fast blows and quick editing, which you've come to expect from Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung. After the crooks are defeated, 7086 rounds them up and compliments Teapot on his great fighting ability. Shirley then asks Teapot why he lets the other Lucky Stars bully him if he's such a good fighter, and Teapot explains that he used to be a bully and thus had no friends, but he learned to value his friendships no matter what. What follows is a pretty funny scene with Exhaust Pipe trying to make himself invisible, or rather, invisable. After a long unintelligible chanting, Exhaust Pipe tries standing in front of the TV while the boys are watching a soccer game. They see him, however, and tell him to go away, so he goes back to his room to try again. The boys discover what he's trying to do, so they get together with Shirley to prank Exhaust Pipe by tricking him into stripping nude while they pretend he's invisible. Hilarity ensues as Exhaust Pipe is convinced he's invisible and starts toying around with everyone while in his birthday suit. I just have to say, everyone does a fantastic job pretending they can't see Exhaust Pipe, especially considering that they're constantly staring at a naked man in his 40s. The fun ends when the mailman comes by and notices the naked Exhaust Pipe, and he expresses how he regrets ever having seen what he just saw. The boys laugh at Exhaust Pipe for a while until Shirley comes in and mentions that Exhaust Pipe got to watch her take a bath during this charade, which angers the others and makes them throw their beer cans at Exhaust Pipe. We then see Chun Chu giving instructions to one of his men, Chai. Chu wants Chai to take the briefcase with the counterfeit money and molds, deliver it to a Caucasian male wearing a red rose, and then return with the money he gives him. Chu's daughter comes in during this briefing and asks what task her father has put Chai up to. Chu tells her off and sends away Chai with 2 of his men, Bill and Paul. The movie then cuts to 7086 strolling through a park when he sees a little boy drop an ice cream cup. He picks up the cup, tells the boy not to litter, and throws it in a waste bin. Unfortunately, it turns out the boy wasn't even finished with it, and he starts crying. His mother scolds 7086 and promises to buy her son another ice cream. 7086 feels ashamed and sits down on a bench when he notices a man, played by Yoon Bio making a cameo appearance, talking with his girlfriend. 7086 also notices his girlfriend and tries whistling for her while the other man is passing by. The man thinks that 7086 was whistling at his girlfriend, and this leads to another short but amazing fight sequence with fast blows and great editing. After about 10 seconds of fighting, the 2 men pull their guns on each other and reveal their CID badges. They realize they're actually colleagues and they apologize for their little mishap. 7086's girlfriend then comes to him and tells him that they need to hurry up and get to a roller skating competition 7086 is participating in. The roller skating competition scene is very enjoyable and gives Jackie Chan a chance to show off his impeccable skating skills. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen Jackie roller skating. The roller race scene from Battle Creek Brawl, which came out 3 years before this movie, is very impressive. But the skating competition scene here in Winners and Sinners is even more impressive, as we see him flipping through flaming hoops, skating in a split, and even doing some impressive stuff in a half-pipe. It looks so unbelievable that you'd think he's on an invisible skateboard. Anyway, back to the plot. While this impressive stuff is going on, Chai arrives at the competition and finds the Caucasian he's looking for, but before they can make the exchange, two muggers steal the briefcase and run off. Chai shouts for help and 7086 immediately gives chase. While running, one of the muggers trips on a broomstick and throws the briefcase into the 5 Stars cleaning van. Since they're in a hurry, they decide to abandon the briefcase and try to get away. They find a red car and drive off in it, but 7086 is still hot on their trail. Chai, Bill, and Paul stop running to catch their breath when Chai notices the briefcase inside the 5 Stars cleaning van, but it drives off before he can stop it. While chasing the muggers, 7086 finds a passing truck and grabs a hold of it, which leads him onto a highway where the chase really begins. This scene on the highway is absolutely great in my opinion, and one of the main highlights of the entire movie, as he vaults over a car, grabs onto other cars, passes underneath a large truck, ducks underneath a passing car, and races through the busy highway on a motorcycle while epic music plays in the background. And once 7086 catches up with the muggers, he tells them to stop the car, which leads to an insane car crash sequence that lasts an entire minute. The stunts pulled off in these crashes look so insane that it makes me wonder how nobody got killed when they filmed this. Anyway, after causing a major screw-up, 7086 realizes he messed up big time. Immediately after that, we see Chai getting thrown down some stairs for screwing up his mission. One of Chu's men informs him that the briefcase is in the 5 Stars cleaning van, and Chu orders them to hunt down the Lucky Stars for the briefcase before scolding Chai for being a lame bitch.
Damn, that man has absolutely no chill at all.
Chu then leaves with his men, and his butler stays behind to look after the mansion. Just as he's leaving, the Lucky Stars arrive at the mansion because the butler apparently hired them for a cleaning job. When they get inside, Chu's butler briefs them on their instructions, and these instructions are very strict. No going to the second floor, no using the toilet, no smoking, etc. After their briefing, they grab their tools and get to work. Back at the police station, we see 7086 sitting in his boss's office and playing with his boss's pet turtles. When his boss arrives, 7086 opens the door for him, but accidentally tears a hole in his pants. His boss then sits him down and scolds him for doing a reckless job, damaging 50 vehicles and not having any witnesses or evidence to charge the two men he was chasing. He then tells 7086 he's thinking of posting him somewhere else, since every case he's put on causes large expenses. Suddenly, his boss notices that his 2 pet turtles are missing from their bowl, and 7086 stops him in time before he steps on one of them. 7086 then sits down but accidentally steps on something. Luckily, it's only his boss's pencil sharpener, and all seems fine until...
Sir, 你有幾多個鉛筆刨啊？
鉛筆刨就得一個。
Help us!
We then see the Lucky Stars driving through town when Exhaust Pipe accidentally runs a red light, and it just so happens that 7086 is there to pull him over and give him a ticket. Teapot recognizes him from the burger parlor and tries to convince him to let them off, but he's reminded that it's 7086's job to stick by his duty. Curly then berates him and says cops are only good for being on top of criminals, and 7086 responds with this.
When they get back
home, Teapot is told to put away the cleaning tools, but when he gets to the closet, he discovers the briefcase that was left in the van. Meanwhile, the others are talking about how stressful their job was at the mansion and how there will be a huge party there that night. They decide to buy some fancy suits and go crash the party. They call for Teapot, who leaves the suitcase in the closet. The 6 friends arrive at the party puffing long cigars, and the large cloud of smoke allows them to get inside undetected. When they get inside, they go their separate ways and begin mingling with the other partygoers. Meanwhile, Chu is informed that Mr. Ho, the man he's trying to sell the counterfeit money in molds, has arrived. The 2 men privately meet with their men. While conducting business, Curly gives out one of his business cards, and one of Chu's men notices that he's part of the 5 Stars cleaning company, and the man has Chu informed. Chu invites Curly to conduct some business, but really he wants to know where the briefcase is. Since Teapot is the only one who knows, Curly can't answer him, even after they try beating him. With no other options, Chu sends away Curly and orders his men to round up his partners, but Curly jumps off the staircase while he's being escorted down, and he announces to the entire party what Chu did to him. Chu tries to dismiss what Curly says, but Curly announces that he and his partners are leaving. Unfortunately, Chu wants them to stay, which leads to yet again another spectacular fight scene with many quick blows. I especially like this funny part where Exhaust Pipe is toying around with this one guy, and it seems like he's not really much of a fighter until he actually deals out some pain. That's just classic. After Teapot jump kicks two guys simultaneously, the Lucky Stars try to figure out a way to escape when Curly finds an entire table of alcohol. He drinks some of the alcohol, Teapot hands him a lighter, and Curly spits the alcohol at the lighter to create a makeshift flamethrower. Curly then hands off the bottle to Teapot to hold back Chu's men, while the rest of the gang drenches the table with the remaining alcohol. Larry lights the table on fire so Chu's men can't get to them, and they make a daring escape without Teapot, who has to crash through a glass door to get out. The others make it to the van and begin driving away when they're ambushed by Mr. Ho's men, who are waiting for them in the van. When Teapot finally catches up with the van, he begins to berate his friends for leaving him to die when he is also captured by Ho's men. The six friends are then taken to meet Mr. Ho, and Larry negotiates with him to meet in a warehouse at daybreak to exchange the briefcase. Ho agrees, but only if he takes Shirley as a hostage so that he won't be tricked. Back at home, the Lucky Stars argue about what they're going to do when Teapot reveals the real briefcase. They decide to look around inside of it and are amazed at what they find. But Larry discovers counterfeiting molds and realizes that the money is fake. And the others realize that they were being too greedy, and they put the money and the molds back inside and change their clothes. The boys are about to get in the van and drive off when Chu's men find them and give chase. Luckily, the boys are able to get away and make it to the warehouse. They decide to split up, with Curly going to find Ho's men and bring them to the warehouse, and Larry going to find some friends of his to help, while Teapot, Exhaust Pipe, and Vaseline lure Chu's men into the warehouse. Chu's men find their way inside, and it seems to be quiet at first, until Teapot comes at them with a forklift, and the final fight begins.
Not that final fight.
While Teapot is dealing out massive amounts of pain and holding his own against Chu's men, Vaseline and Exhaust Pipe are trying to hide so they don't get discovered. Unfortunately, this does not last long for them. They're able to fend for themselves, and Teapot shows off some impressive stick fighting skills, but it's not long until the three friends are taken advantage of. Chu is about to kill off our heroes until he discovers that only one mold is in the briefcase. Vaseline tells them their big brother has the remaining mold, and Teapot tells Chu that their big brother is on his way to the warehouse with them, so Chu agrees to wait. Some time passes, and Curly and Shirley finally arrive with Ho's men. Through some clever thinking, Curly sets up Mr. Ho, making it look like he was trying to pull one over on Chu. With this, Chu and Ho gather their men and have them fight, and they themselves are also about to rumble when all of a sudden the police arrive in the nick of time. They bust into the warehouse and surround everyone, and a certain someone steps out to greet our heroes.
That's right, Larry was an undercover cop this entire time, and he's been secretly working to stop Chu's counterfeiting shenanigans.
Chu and Ho are arrested along with their men, and as the others leave the warehouse, they compliment him on a job well done. The next day, Teapot and Shirley are at the police station for their testimonies, and Teapot is uneasy about being at the precinct again. Luckily, they get a pleasant surprise from their old pal 7086, who offers to help them out of whatever trouble they're in. Larry then steps into the room and tells Teapot to hold out his hands. Teapot expects handcuffs, but instead gets a $20,000 award for helping stop Chu's counterfeiting scheme.
A wedding? How nice!
7086 even gets an award for his help too. No cash though. But he does get some great news from his girlfriend that she's accepted his wedding proposal. With bright futures ahead for the both of them, Teapot and 7086 run off to grab a celebratory drink, all while carrying their fiancés. And that's the story of Winners and Sinners.
So what did I think of Winners and Sinners? Fantastic movie. Entertaining characters, high-intensity music and action, and all topped off with a wholesome and happy ending. The film has a great story about friends enjoying each other's company and working together to do good things despite all their mishaps. And that's a story that I can truly relate to. So, Winners and Sinners gets an approval from me. I apologize if you were expecting a video game review after so long, but this is something I really wanted to try out and see how good it could be. But don't worry though, because our next episode will be another video game review, so be sure to stick around. And as always, thank you everybody for watching. I'm Andrew Ambrose, and I'll catch you later. 開心到不得了，認真有料到，只想發燒，大笑。
好似瘋癲兼好似傻，時時朋友歡笑。佢笑到攤攤腰想發狂，齊齊同聲大笑，見親我都笑。你係最笑，笑得咁鬼妙，我話笑就笑，笑走晒衰嘢，放縱放命笑，每天過得妙，每日要大笑。只有五福星高照，開心到不得了，認真有料到，好似想發燒，大笑。只有五福星高照，開心到不得了。